It's now 16 minutes past 9, Radio Whammo Breakfast. I just want that one to go on. It's the epic theme from Game of Thrones. And now it is on the box, on the radio, with Chris Philpott at stuff.co.nz. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks very much. And I'm looking forward to a little bit of a talk about Game of Thrones. But
I think if we ever get a theme song written for this segment, we should get the Game of Thrones guy to do it.
Definitely.
Actually, I think he would be the man.
Definitely. In fact, there's a bunch of remixes out there on YouTube as well, and also interpretations. There's a guy, he's obviously got some kind of production studio or something, but he does the drums and he does like a metal version of it as well, and he's like all over the top of it. That is one to watch. That's quite cool.
Awesome.
But first up, the Golden Globe nominations have been announced.
Yeah, they came out on Friday. The Golden Globes, of course, one of the big precursors for the Emmys and the Oscars, and kind of they look at this as being this is how people are voting. This is who's the favourites, and it's interesting to see with the TV nominations, particularly who's in there. First off, I think the best TV drama nominees. The big shock is that Breaking Bad isn't listed. Even though it was eligible, it qualified. Bryan Cranston's been nominated for Best Actor, but the show is not nominated for Best TV Drama. I'm a little bit shocked by that.
That is strange. Maybe it's polarizing for kind of the mainstream America, perhaps. The whole subject matter of it.
It's possible. Although I think there's always one of these shows around. We talk a lot about The Wire. Which was on the air for 5 years and only won one Emmy in a technical category.
Yeah.
Was never nominated for Best Show, was never nominated for Best Actor, I don't believe. And even though it's generally considered the best show of that time, and maybe Breaking Bad is just that show, it's just the one that is so good it can't get itself nominated for anything.
The Wire, too many poor people. Probably, Chris. Too many poor people. That's why it wasn't nominated.
That's possibly what it is. The other thing is, it's a pretty strong year anyway for television. So, while we think Breaking Bad is the best show out there, maybe it's sort of 6th or 7th in the minds of most people. Though I think top 10 critics lists kind of disagree with that a little bit. The nominees for Best TV Drama, though, we've got American Horror Story, which is coming to TV3 next year, I believe. Boardwalk Empire, which is on Soho right now. Boss, which is the new show starring Kelsey Grammer, which starts next year on Soho. Game of Thrones, of course, and Homeland, which is coming to TV3 next year. And it's interesting to me because in years past, it's always been, it would be great to have that show on here or that show on here. This year, we've got 5 shows, and all 5 of them are either on or coming to TV in New Zealand. So that's an interesting development, I think.
Yeah, and in the comedy side of things?
I think the comedy is pretty predictable. We've got Enlightened, which is a new HBO show, again coming to TV1 next year. Episodes, which is a show with Matt LeBlanc from Friends, playing kind of a satirical version of himself. Glee, TV3's Glee, Modern Family, and New Girl, which is a new show with Zooey Deschanel, coming to TV4 next year.
And you're a big
so
fan.
Again, 5 shows, and they're all coming to New Zealand TV, and I love Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah, I know.
If she's listening to the show by some miracle.
I'm sure she is. This isn't on our list, but I saw some breaking news on Twitter this morning that, is it How I Made It in America or How to Make It in America?
Yeah, How to Make It in America. HBO's basically cancelled How to Make It in America. Bored to Death, which is a show with Jason Schwartzman, Ted Danson, and Zach Galifianakis, which is quite a funny show, quirky and a bit offbeat, but very good. Starts on Soho next year. Season 1 is starting there. And then also Hung, with Thomas Jane playing a male prostitute, have all been cancelled. And meanwhile, Enlightened, which we just mentioned there, is one of the nominees, got renewed for a second season. So it's just HBO clearing the way. They've got a lot of new stuff coming in. I think the returns on those shows aren't very good. The ratings are pretty low even compared to other HBO shows. So it's a purely business decision. Personally, I'm not convinced any of those shows really worth saving anyway.
Not even Hung? I haven't seen Hung, but I know some people will be very disappointed about Hung.
There will be some people disappointed, but I watched the first series and thought that was good, and then it just dragged from that point onwards. Second series on, it just was not a great show, and I think it had gone as far as it could go without just becoming a standard drama. And I don't think HBO's interested in producing standard dramas, really.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the best and worst of 2011. First up, the first 5 worst from you.
Okay, so the worst shows, these are my 5 worst, and you can see this on the blog today, which is my blog today, is the worst TV of 2011. So the top 5, or the bottom 5, it should be rather, I've got Off the Map, which is the medical show with Martin Henderson starring it, actually, the Kiwi actor. Basically, it was Grey's Anatomy in a jungle. We've got Bleep My Dad Says, the sitcom with William Shatner, which was just horrible, based off a Twitter feed. We've got Brown Brothers, which is a Kiwi comedy which aired at 11:30 p.m. on TV3 on a Friday night, and if you ever watched an episode or two, you'll know why they buried it at that time slot. We got Jersey Shore, which is, I think, any goodwill that there was towards those guys in the early periods of the show is now gone.
Yeah.
And then the Kennedys, which was interesting in the last couple of episodes when it got into interesting stories, but was absolutely horrible for the first half and just really boring.
Okay, that was the worst. What about the best?
The best I've got, I've got Breaking Bad first. Obviously, I think that's maybe the best show of the last 10 years, 20 years even. This year's season, at least, maybe the best individual season of the last 10 years. Game of Thrones, which, you know, as a new show is just fantastic. We've got Louis, which is Louis C.K.'s show, which airs on Comedy Central. I think they've finished the first series and repeating it. We've got Parks and Recreation, which is on 4. It's up to season 2 on 4, which is really good. But the 4th season, currently airing in the States, is just fantastic. And then Homeland, which is the new political thriller starring Damian Lewis and Claire Danes, which starts on TV3 next year. And that's really good. It had its finale on Monday. Absolutely fantastic first season. So
cool. I might check that out over the Christmas break. You didn't have Boardwalk Empire in there.
I don't have Boardwalk Empire in there. No, I have a love-hate relationship with Boardwalk Empire, and the reason is this: some episodes are really interesting and a lot happens. Other episodes, not too much happens, and I find it a little bit of a chore to sit through. And I don't know if that's the standard kind of response to the show, but that's certainly how I view it. It's you know, it's a good show, and if I was extending it out to a top 20, it would be in there.
Okay.
But it's not top 5 or top 10 for me.
Not even top 10. Okay.
Another show that definitely was hard to leave out as well, I should mention, is The Good Wife, which doesn't get enough credit, I don't think, as being one of the better dramas on TV. It really is a really well-written show. Juliana Margulies is fantastic in it. I'm really looking forward to the 3rd season starting this year, in 2012, I should say, on 3.
Okay. Hey, I've got a bit of what we shouldn't be watching news, though I think they do want us to watch it. The first episode of Californication has been leaked online for the next season. I guess it's season 5, I suppose. They always seem to do it around about this time in December. They leak either the first or second episode, and it's not due to play until late January or February. So that's out there right now.
It is out there, and the working theory that I've seen around is that it's a leak from Showtime themselves. They've put it out there as promotional. They know that it's kind of a dead zone promotionally, trying to air, promo their shows over the Christmas period, especially when they're starting in late January. And I think the thinking is that they'll get more of a response if they just release the first episode to the internet. That'll kind of self-promote, and will do a better job than anything that they would do over the Christmas period. It's an interesting way of doing it. Networks have tried it in the past. New Girl is the most recent example where the show went online and then ended up on torrents. And was downloaded millions of times. And then when it debuted on TV, it was on Fox. It still had like the biggest ratings of a sitcom on Fox in years.
I'm torn.
It can work.
Yeah, I think I probably will watch it, but I don't like the idea of watching it now and then waiting ages, like another month or two, before I can actually see the next episode, and then I've forgotten what happened in the first one. But anyway, coming up on TV?
So coming up, well, we've got quite a couple of really big things coming up. First off, Game of Thrones finishes its first season on Soho. That's on Monday at 8:30, with the big finale. Of course, this week's episode was brilliant. Ned Stark losing his head a little bit in the show. Try not to be too spoilerific. And then next Wednesday, Falling Skies. We talk about the show V that's on Wednesday nights as being a bad example of an alien invasion show. That's another one that's on my worst list, top 10, is V. But Falling Skies is a really good alien invasion show. It's produced by Steven Spielberg, and it just follows a smaller group of people as they kind of try to survive in the wake of an alien attack. And that starts next Wednesday, 8:30 on 2.
Cool.
And then finally, I thought I would check this out for you since you mentioned it last week.
Yeah.
No sign of Shawshank Redemption on the Christmas Day schedule.
This is an outrage, Chris. An absolute outrage. Surely Mr. Key can do something about this. He did it for Coronation Street. We've got to have Shawshank Redemption back on our TVs on Christmas Day.
Just once, 2 p.m. Christmas Day. That's when it needs to be on.
Yeah.
They just need to put it aside now. Although I think probably The Holiday has replaced the Shawshank Redemption as the seminal Christmas movie.
No.
You know, with Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz and Jack Black. And
no.
I could rant for a while about how weird that cast is. Two-time Oscar winner Kate Winslet and then Jack Black.
They're not even in the same
what?
sphere of Christmas movies. You can't have The Holiday and Shawshank Redemption. Absolutely. No, I'm gutted. However, I haven't seen the schedule for Boxing Day, so it might end up on Boxing Day.
It's been bumped to Boxing Day. This is a travesty.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for your TV reviews and looking forward in 2011 and we're really excited to be talking to you again in 2012. Have a great break.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be back in January. Merry Christmas to you and to all your listeners as well. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks, Chris. See ya.
See you later.
Chris Philpott there, and you can find his blog, obviously, over at stuff.co.nz in the entertainment section there. It's called On the